What's up, guys? Ninth Gym here, bringing another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today we're going to be talking about Reuniclus, whatever his name is. Reuniclus, that's the correct name. Anyway, this Pokemon's pretty cool. It's a great Trick Room setter. It's pretty low speed, so it works under Trick Room very, very well. It also has access to Trick Room and Prison, which we can use to negate Trick Room. Essentially, just make it so your opponent cannot use Trick Room. Pretty good, and it has a good speed for that. At 30, if you don't min speed it and hinder nature, then it hits right above most common Trick Room setters, so you're able to hit it with Imprison. However, this that folds to Indeedee or Togekiss Follow Meing, so we're not using that in the build today, but that is it is an option. So anyway, we'll start off with its ability. So it has an ability called Magic Guard, and thank you to whoever it was in the comments that corrected at me. So like this is funny actually. This is take 2 of this because I goofed and I said the ability was insanely OP and completely wrong. I said it stopped you from non-contact damage attacks. That's incorrect. It stops you from non-direct attack moves. So it stops like status inflictments, so your opponent can't Thunder Wave it, or your opponent can't like taunt it or something. That's what it does. It doesn't do what I said last time where it stops special attacks. It only hits physical. No, that's completely wrong. You can get hit with a special attack. That was so stupid that I had to do a retake. So we're in take 2. Let me just clarify that. Magic Guard stops non-direct attack moves. So yes, Flamethrower still hits. Snarl still hits. But Thunder Wave does not. You know what I mean? So, thank you to who it was. I don't want to get it incorrect, so I'm not going to say name because I don't remember it entirely. But thank you so much to whoever it was. You're a big help. And I'm so glad you let me know so early because that could have been really bad. I don't want to misinform people. That was really stupid. I should have just Googled it. I've never used Reuniclus in any game play ever. Literally ever. So, that's why I'm very thankful to that. Anyway, with all that aside, Magic Guard, awesome ability. Resists fighting and psychic. Weaknesses is Bug, Ghost, Dark. Pretty solid overall. We're just mono psychic typing, so we just have the weaknesses and resists of a psychic Pokemon. No dual typing, so pretty solid. Into stats, not the best stats, but not bad. So 30 speed is actually like really good for what we're doing. So since we're setting Trick Room, 30 speed, if you min speed and quiet nature, so we're minus speed nature, hindering nature, we actually hit 31, which is very, very relevant, and we'll talk about speed tiers here in a minute after the first build, and it's very good, actually. So we outspeed a lot of Pokemon under Trick Room, and we overspeed a lot of Pokemon before Trick Room activates, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about that more in depth in a minute here. But then for our bulk, which is decent, we have a little above average special defense. 85 is very, very solid. And then 75 defense, so a little under average defense. But it's patched up very well with 110 HP. 110 HP is very, very solid. It's above average. 110 is very, very good. And then we also have our defenses and special defenses at pretty decent. So that's not bad. And then attack 65 does not matter. And then special attack 125 is a very, very above average special attack. Really, really good. 125. And it matches really well for our very diverse move pool. Has a lot of coverage, access to moves like Thunder, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon, while also having access to the moves that we're using. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the first build here, and we're using Magic Guard, of course, and Life Orb is our item of choice. This helps us hit a couple of certain numbers, and we'll talk about that. I have some damage calcs at the end of the video, or towards the end of the video. I'll timestamp them down below so you can just jump there if you want to. But pretty good stuff, actually. So for our move pool, we have Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Focus Blast, and of course Trick Room. But we Trick Room, and then a lot of the times we'll get hit to very low percentage, and then we'll use a second attack here, and or our first attack, we'll use Trick Room, and then we'll be able to attack with Psychic, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, something like that. And that's our move pool that we have. Those are all in my calcs. But if you need coverage, we do have other options here. Thunder, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon. You can swap out Shadow Ball and Focus Blast. I think Psychic and Trick Room are definitely just set for this move pool. In general, I think Trick Room is half the reason we're using this. And then Psychic is our stab move, which is very, very powerful as well. So we're using those. But Thunder, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon are all options as well. Same with Protect as well. If you want to use Protect, you can. And then we also have a couple of other moves here, support moves that could be used. So Imprison, I talked about that very briefly, where you can imprison with Trick Room on your team. You can imprison other Trick Room users and then play the game without Trick Room, which is definitely an option. However, with this Pokemon, you're usually going to be setting Trick Room, or if you're up against a Trick Room team, you're just going to play without Trick Room, or if your opponent sets it, then it is what it is, or you can deny it by setting it again to de-Trick Room. I'm trying to think of the right word. But anyway, yeah, so Imprison is interesting. And then we also have Ally Switch, which I love as an attack, being able to switch. It's mind games, huge mind games. It's really, really good with certain Pokemon. So if you are using Reuniclus with something like a Snorlax and you Ally Switch against something like a Dragapult, they max Phantasm or Shadow Claw, Phantom Force into your Reuniclus spot, thinking they're going to kill it. And then you Ally Switch, and then it doesn't affect the Snorlax, and then you get a free you essentially nullify their turn, which was most likely more important than your turn. So you get to, or like the Dragapult, you essentially trade your turn of Reuniclus and Dragapult. It's very, very powerful in those situations. Other than that, Ally Switch can just help you absorb a lot of resisting attacks, which is very good as well. And then we also have Recover and Calm Mind. The main reason I'm not really touching too much on those two is because, well, we're not super bulky. A lot of big attacks we're like decently bulky, but a lot of big attacks will knock us down to like 10 to 20% range anyway. And then Recover won't put us back to the range where we'll be able to live a second hit. So that's the main reason Recover. And then Calm Mind is essentially the same. You set up Trick Room, and then you get to attack, usually once, if at all. So you get to Trick Room, and then you set up another attack. And you don't really want that to be Calm Mind because you probably won't get another attack to really utilize the Calm Mind too much. So yeah, that's about it. And then for our partner Pokemon, we have Rhyperior, Gastrodon, Togekiss. Rhyperior and Gastrodon, just to symbolize any Trick Room Pokemon, you want to use Torkoal, Conkeldurr. Any of these Trick Room Pokemon, Mudsdale, Araquanid. If you want to use any of these Pokemon, you can. Reuniclus lets you set up Trick Room pretty easily, being fairly bulky and then being at a speed tier where you're overspeeding most Trick Room Pokemon, or not most, but a good bit of them, or underspeeding a lot, and then you can just set up Trick Room and then go about your business, bring out Rhyperior, Torkoal, and just sweep. And that's essentially the idea. And then we also have Togekiss here as an indeedee, or Togekiss or indeedee as a follow me user, just to set up Trick Room a lot easier. But I don't really like that with things that aren't like it doesn't matter. You can definitely use indeedee or Togekiss on any kind of Trick Room setup team. I mean, I've used Butterfree and Dusclops, if you've seen those battle videos, to set up Rage Powder, so you can get Trick Room setup guaranteed. So that's always an option. That's always great for any kind of Trick Room user in general. And then for a couple of threats that we're looking out for is Dragapult, Tyranitar, Snorlax. Snorlax has access to Darkest Lariat. If it belly drums, it's killing us every time. Tyranitar and Dragapult, I have some damage calcs, but they do a lot of damage, and the damage calcs show that, and we'll go into that here just in a few moments. So now we're going to switch over to our speed tiers. And I'm going to show off a couple of these speed tiers here. So we're actually at a very decent speed tier. So at Hindering Nature, 0 investments, we're at 31, with a lot of other things actually. Snorlax, Runerigus, Colossal, and Copperajah. Colossal is less of a worry because usually if they use Colossal, it's not for Trick Room. It's usually for Steam Engine. You hit it with like a Surf on a Weavile, or like a Basculin uses Aqua Jet or something to make it quad speed, and then it's fast. So usually you won't have to worry about that. But Snorlax being on the same speed tier is very relevant. Like I said, Darkest Lariat and Belly Drum are both really, really powerful. And even if not, then you Curse up. Curse-Lax is also very scary because Curse will make it underspeed you every time. If they don't Curse, then you're going to speed tie with it, which is pretty annoying. If it is min speed hindering, which a lot of Belly Drum are not actually, because they're designed to be able to play out of Trick Room as well. So we might not have to worry about Snorlax as much, but at least for the first attack, A lot of the time, if they'll go for a belly drum or something, and it's for a designated Trick Room team, then we'll have to speed tie, win the speed tie, set up Trick Room, and then win the speed tie the next turn too, which is pretty annoying, honestly. But access to Focus Blast lets us kind of blast Snorlax a little bit, which does a good bit of damage. And then Reuniclus and Caparage are a little less relevant, but they're there, and we're going to have to speed tie those Pokemon because they're usually going to be hindering 0 speed as well. And then at 34, we have Bronzong hindering 0 speed. It outspeeds us first, but then we outspeed it after Trick Room. After you set up Trick Room, we outspeed Bronzong and Gastrodon and Rhyperior, which are all very, very relevant Pokemon. Gastrodon and Rhyperior you'll see on the majority of Trick Room teams. Definitely Rhyperior is the best, in my opinion, Trick Room sweeper, along with Torkoal at the bottom. But yeah, that's it for above us. And then under us, we have Hatterene at 30, hindering 0 speed, and that is 30, so it's going to outspeed us after we set up Trick Room. So if we see Hatterene, Dusclops, Torkoal, or Ferrothorn, then honestly, a lot of the times we don't even want to set up Trick Room. We want to play without it so that we can beat it. And then if they set up Trick Room, you can Trick Room, reset the Trick Room, and set it back to regular, and then kill off the Hatterene before it does anything else. And then you get to play without Trick Room, and you outspeed their Torkoal, their Ferrothorn, Dusclops, Pokemon like that. Dusclops is another one. It is going to outspeed us after Trick Room is set. It's going to set up its own Trick Room. Will-O-Wisp, Nightshade. Nightshade does almost no damage. It's very, very minimal. It's like 20-something%. So we don't have to worry about that too much. And yeah, that's about it. Torkoal and Ferrothorn are also going to outspeed us because they're both going to be hindering 0 nature, potentially. But that it is there. We're going to outspeed them until Trick Room is set, and then they outspeed us. So that's how the speed is here. So now we're going to go into our damage calcs section. The damage calcs, I have a good bit of them, and I was so stupid earlier when I made the first take, and it just went really bad. So honestly, it's like a little bit of a blessing in disguise that I had to retake this, but it's okay. So anyway, we have a lot of good calcs here. So the first calc here is Dragapult, Choice Specs, 252 special attack. The main reason I do special is because Phantom Force is a two-turn hitting attack. So if they use Phantom Force, we can just switch out or like ally switch or just like switch into something that resists it. And it's not as big of a problem. However, with Choice Specs, they can use Shadow Ball immediately, which does have a 37.5 chance to OHKO, 89 to 105. It's not something that I would suggest trying to risk. You see a Dragapult, and it's kind of sketchy because it's probably more frequently you see a physical, but it's pretty often you'll see a special Dragapult, and you can usually just like look around. Usually you can look at their team and tell for the most part what all of that is there, but there are a lot of Pokemon that can be played physical or special. You know, there's the Dragapult, there's Arcanine that can be played both ways. There's a good couple of Pokemon that can be played both ways. So keep that in mind. Things like Goodra could even be played both ways. So yeah. So you can usually tell for the most part, but Dragapult's like kind of borderline. So yeah, Shadow Ball is really, really big against us. But if you go on to our second one, if we set up Trick Room, then we outspeed Dragapult every time, and then our Shadow Ball has an 87.5 chance to OHKO. That's one you can rely on. Typically, doing 98 to 115, you're usually going to knock it out, especially since it's holding Life Orb. If it's physical, most likely, then it will be killing itself with Life Orb, even if you don't kill it. But the chance that you're going to kill it, like I said, is 87.5, so it's a pretty reliable chance to OHKO. And then for our next one, we have Special Attacking Hydreigon, Max Invested Special Attack, Dark Pulse off Hydreigon, going into our 4th Special Defense, Reuniclus, heading 70 to 89.9%. That's not enough to kill us. The reason I don't have it plus as in modest is Hydreigon is usually timid, and same with the Choice Specs Dragapult. That's why it's not modest, so that they can knock us out. Yeah. Typically, Hydreigon will not be able to OHKO us. Very fortunate. Even if it is modest, actually, I don't know if it would kill. I don't think it would. I'm going to plug that in real quick, though. So Hydreigon modest. Dark Pulse is still doing 77 to 91%, so we're still living it even if it is modest. Although, like I say, it's typically not modest. So yeah, and then our Focus Blast going back into a Hydreigon does 123 to 147% guaranteed OHKO. So that's really, really good as well, being able to return OHKO after a very, very triumphant Dark Pulse. And like I say, a lot of the times we'll use Trick Room, be able to live a Hydreigon attack, or in the next example, most likely live the Tyranitar or the Choice Specs. It is over half percentage chance to live, but it's still like something I wouldn't advise risking. Yeah. So we also have the option of like Colbur Berry or the Kasib Berry. Did I not touch on that actually in the first slide? We'll talk about it here in a second. But Kasib Berry halves the super effective damage of a ghost type attack, so that is good against Choice Specs Dragapult. If you use Kasib Berry, you will live, but then without Life Orb, you won't be able to OHKO. So that's why I have the Life Orb in, because the Life Orb actually gets us to OHKO on 2 of these attacks here. Focus Blast into Hydreigon, actually without Life Orb, it still has a 75% chance to OHKO. So it's mostly just relevant for the Dragapult, but that's pretty big. So anyway, then for our last one, we also have Tyranitar, Adamant, 252 max invested Adamant, Tyranitar Crunch into our max invested HP. Reuniclus is a 37.5 chance to OHKO, so it's the same as the Choice Specs Dragapult, so I would not risk it. In my opinion, I would not risk it. And then we also have Reuniclus Focus Blast into the Tyranitar in Sand, mind you. Super kills it. 150 to 170%. So keep in mind that none of these are Dynamax Calcs as well. All of these Pokemon will be able to live these designated attacks if they Dynamax. However, they will all still 2-shot, which is very relevant. I believe still 2-shot. I mean, definitely the Tyranitar will definitely still 2-shot, but you don't want to really use a super effective attack and then rely on a 2-shot because it could be weakness policy. There's like a very decent chance that it will be weakness policy. So anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Reuniclus, thank you so much to the guy in the comments that fixed my mistake. I'm retaking it now. Take number 2. It went smoother, I think. So it's all good. And then, yeah, that's really it. So thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, we're almost at the 20-minute mark. We're at like 17 minutes. So thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. And also comment down below if you want to see certain Pokemon in videos, you know, like we did. This one was a suggestion comment. So definitely do that. I do them. I like to do suggestions. And also comment stuff that you want to see in battle videos as well. We're now in Master Ball tier, so we can't rank down, so we'll use a lot of stuff, definitely. But I am preparing for New York, North Carolina, and Ohio internets, but that's very far. But North Carolina is only a few months away, so definitely I'm testing real stuff, but I also do want to test gimmicky Mimi stuff. So yeah, definitely go ahead and comment whatever you want to see, and thank you so much for watching. That's gonna be it for today, so goodbye.